Hi, my friends. This is Jay, and this is Jay's Knit and Purl Jam. And listen, I'm all excited. First of course, I'm excited because, you're joining me. I just love your company. I've been thinking about you all week. I've read all your comments and messages, and some of you are just, just need a hug. I told my little friend Diana, I wish I could just give you a hug. Well, I wish I could just give everyone a hug. Sometimes you just need it. The other day I needed a hug and a cup of coffee. I'd given up coffee, oh gosh, for about 2 years after we stopped our knitting groups, because we drank coffee in our knitting groups. We just, I'm just not about the tea thing. I do have a cup of tea every now and then, so maybe some chamomile or something like that at night when it gets real cold. But, look, I just need a cup of coffee. So I just started back drinking a little coffee. Just 1 cup in the morning. Man, what a difference it makes when I get that 1 cup. Do you do the same thing? Do you have that one thing you just like, okay, I know I shouldn't, but I just got to? Well, how are you? Like I said, I know a lot of you just need a little hug. So, listen, this is our little time to just enjoy one another's company, to just laugh, for me to share what's going on. You can leave me some comments underneath the video to let me know what's going on with you. Listen, if you need me to cry with you, I'll cry with you. If you need a laugh, we'll laugh too. But we're going to make it. We're going to get through this. We'll just keep saying it. Well, listen. Way back when a few months ago when I did, someone had made a request about top-down sweaters. So I got busy and came up with, and I called it Jay's Knit, like a basic 101 top-down sweater. And I was just feeling my way through and showing you how I just came up with my little, my sweater and how I put it together and how I figured out the numbers. And at that time, I said, well, listen, we're going to keep it going. We're just going to use this first one as a starting point. And so, especially for new knitters, or like I said, we got a lot of crocheters that are crossing over. We want you to cross over and come on and knit with us too. We love crocheting, but we want to do some knitting. So I said, okay, I promised that I would get busy and, show you some, we'll add some new stitches and do some new things. So on this one, this is Jay's Knit Top Down, the second time around. And the reason it's the second time around because we're going to change up some of the numbers. We're going to tweak our pattern a little bit because you have to tweak. You have to do that even if you buy a pattern or get it out of a magazine or a book. That's just part of just experience of knitting. So I'm going to show you some of the things, how I thought, well, maybe I can change this and change that. But I'm going to make this one a lot simpler. I watched the other video, my first video, and if you're new, you need to do the first tutorial, Top Down Sweater 101. You need to be able to understand, because I'm not going to repeat a lot of that information. I took it the long way around on that tutorial because I wanted it on tape. Now that I'm on video, I don't have to keep a lot of records. I just go and watch the video like you. And I make little notes and I'll go, well, Jay, you need to change that. Or just like you, someone will say, well, Jay, why don't you do this? Or, right here, you could have made one, or you could have just decreased here. See, I keep track of stuff, and so on this one, I'm going to try to streamline it, try to do some shortcuts, try to make it easier and simpler for you to, because I knit large things, and, there's a lot of knitting, so I thought if I try to cut down and make the steps a little easier, then hence we can knit the sweater and continue to grow. And when I started doing sweaters, especially from bottom up, most of my sweaters when I came on YouTube were bottom up. So I had 4 steps, but on this one I'm going to separate it into 3 steps, and this will have to be, unfortunately, a 3-step tutorial to get it all in, but make it simple. I'm going to keep it a short video. I'm keeping them short. And but I'm going to have 3 steps. The first step, I'm going to simply call it, I'll do just a little hint of review, going over the schematic and our numbers, but not how I got them and how to measure. You're going to have to watch the first tutorial. But this is going to be the neck and the shoulders. We're going to walk you through and with your numbers, and we're going to go ahead and cast on and work the neck line and then down to our shoulders. Tutorial part number 2 will be from the underarm to the length or the body of the sweater, the length that you need or want for your sweater. And I'm cropping my sweaters this year. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm just short. I'm just shrinking. So I'm going to crop my sweaters. So that means less time knitting, just a nice little fit of the upper body, because it's not going to fit the lower body. So that's going to save time too. And you might like the look of the new, more cropped or shorter sweater. All right, that was step number 2, underarms and the body or the length of the sweater. And then the last step is simply, of course, the sleeves and the cuffs. Oh, look, I'm enjoying my nails. Oh, I even took my own nail polish this time. I didn't feel like they had so many nail polishes. I get confused. I don't want to. I like, once I like a color, I'll wear it for a long time, especially if it goes with my skin tone. So I just took my own nail polish. So I had a little. She said it was a cut, and they filled them in and everything. But my nails looked really good underneath. So, getting back to the steps, I got all off, didn't I? So step 3 is the sleeves and, of course, how to finish up the cuffs. So I don't have anything to add. I don't have anything new to show you because I'm not interested in that. I'm trying to use up my stash. I'm going to go through the supplies because I really want you to really give this a try. I've got a new stitch. I got some pretty new buttons. I'm going to show you all of that as we go to our tutorial on the counter here, and I'm going to lay it all out. And you too, look, you too can knit top down the second time around. So, I think that's it. Yep, I think that's it. So, let's get started. Alright, so the first thing, I want to jump right in and give you an overview of the sweater that I was wearing. Here is my top down the second time around, and this is the one we're going to start tweaking and, you know, just trying to eliminate a lot of steps if we don't need them. And I'm going to do it in 3, you know, I have 3 steps I said I was going to try to keep myself on track and not to wander and you know, to keep it as short as possible. We will start, of course, at the neck edge here. We're going to talk about that. Like I said, we'll not be reviewing everything from the first top down 101 because I really took my time to give as much information as I could. Not just for you, just for me. Because now I don't have to keep up with paperwork or write everything down. If I need to knit that sweater and I won't, then all I have to do is look at the tutorial just like you. I don't have to keep up with it now. So that's why. But now this one, like I said, I want to try to cut down on anything I can to make it a lot easier for you. Because I understand, especially if you're a new knitter at this, you know, knitting is time consuming and it is work, people. It is work. But the process and the reward, to me, I enjoy it so much. And I'm sure you want to do that too. Otherwise you wouldn't be watching me. You turn over and watch somebody cook a cake. or cook some green beans and mushrooms or something. All right. Step number 1. We're going to go ahead and start our neck. I am going to start at the schematic section, but step 1 is the neck, then all the way down to the shoulders here. And then step number 2 will be from the underarm to the rest of the body, to the length you want of your sweater. This I'm doing is cropped. You can see how short it is. It's just, I've just been wasting too much time making longer sweaters, and I am just shrinking. Let's see, can I pull it back some? Maybe you can even see it a little more if I come back a little bit. Let me go back this way a little bit. There we go. So I really don't need these long sweaters. So I'm thinking that'll save me time too. And I can get done and I can knit faster. So there it is. And then of course, step number 3 will be your sleeves. You know how to pick them up. My decrease of the sleeve, very nice seam all in the round, and then of course the cuff. And voila, hopefully if I stay on track, we can move a lot faster. But I just wanted you to see, and look at the pretty buttons I found. I found those at Hobby Lobby. You know, they have the prettiest bling buttons to me than anyone. I buy my buttons anywhere, but they just have the buttons that have the bling. They just have some pretty button. And these weren't that much. I don't know, about $2.99 or something. So I got 2 packs. Let's see if that glitter's showing up really good. Maybe you can really see it. Isn't that pretty? Well, anyway. But, alright, so the next thing, we would do a new stitch. Right on, starting after we start the neck, we will go into our new stitch, and look. It's kind of like, it looks like a cable, but it's not a cable. We don't have to do any cable, but the way the stitch works up, it's called like the wave, but I'll go over all of that with you. But that's pretty, but guess what? We're going to work in the reverse again. One side, you work from the back of the row to the front of the row, and then on the opposite side, you work it as usual. So we get to do, that's a nice challenge and something so that we can get all the lace in the round without having to pick up a button band. So what do you think of that? And then if nobody wears a sweater button, people I don't know, but it's just for decoration. But at least you can see that it can be, if you had to, you could have all-inclusive button band with this pretty lace. So that's something to look forward to. Alright, so I want to keep moving. I don't want to take a lot of time. This color, this sweater is based on the US number 9 needles. I'll go over all the needles, but first, it's based on Vanna's Choice yarn, because it's the yarn, as we get ready to go into really cold weather, it's already gearing up for cold and crazy weather. You know, this is one of my favorite yarns for my sweaters. Of course, you could be in a different climate, and what you will do. All right, first of all, let me just tell you the name of this. This is Vanna's Choice, and the name of this color is Silver Blue. This is one I've had for years, and I never got around to making a sweater, and then once I started, you got me into top down, I thought that would be perfect. So this is Vanna's Choice Silver Blue. It's a number 4 weight, but they do use a number 9 needle, which is good for me, because that's what I wanted to use on it. It's a little heavier, you know, it knits up a little nice and heavy. There's it's a nice warm fabric. It knits up really nice for the winter. And I had at least 6. I just had 6 on hand because, like I said, I've had it a good while. All right, the next yarns that you could try, or go ahead and try. Okay, here is, because like I say, everybody's in different climates, so you're going to have to, of course, now if you are in wool nation, you know, you cold or whatever, the knitters that just love wool, then of course you're going to look for something that you can use with a number 9 and do your regular, however you swatch or whatever. But but for us who are in acrylic world, here is Lions brand Heartland. And they call for a number 9 also. It's a 4 weight, but they call for a number 9. Now, I have not knit this sweater in this yarn. But all you have to do, you'd have to go back to, and I'll put a link, to Top Down 101, Top Down Basic Sweater 101, the video of, like I said, I'll put a link, and follow the steps. Either you do a simple swatch like you're used to doing and figure out how many stitches you need to fill in as we get ready to look at our schematic, Or, as I do, I just knit I knit 4 or 5 rows of this, longer than what I need, and I measure from my waist to my belly button. I start trying to make it shorter, not having to go all the way across, and, you know, really pull it, make it fit the body from one side to my belly button. I sit down and I count those stitches. And if I don't land on a number divisible by 4, I round up. That's the most important part to my knitting in my little knitting tutorials. Round that number up. So if I land on 43, I would automatically go up to 44. If I land on 46, I'd go up to the next number. What's that? 48 or whatever. That's divisible by 4. And then just follow the steps. Then you know how many stitches it's going to take on a US number 9. All right, another one, and I want to, believe it or not, this yarn is a little heavier to me than this one. This knits up really not as heavy as at least they say it does, but this is Red Heart Soft, and it is a medium weight number 4. They call for an 8, but I could use a number 9 on this also, following the same steps to determine how many stitches. I knit by how many stitches it takes to cover one area of your body. If I want to know about my cuff, then I would take my little tape. You've seen me have that long tape like this on the previous video, and I'd put it where I want my cuff to be, and I'd pull it nice and tight, and I'd count those stitches, round it up to something that's even or divisible by 4. A cuff just needs to be even. But you can see how, like I said, my system is by how many stitches, not so much how many inches. You know, once I know the stitch count, then I can go ahead and cast on. Just make sure you do it with the yarn you're going to use. And for this sweater, a US number 9. This will not work for a US number 8. These numbers will not. So don't go like, well, Jay, I don't have a 9. Can I use an 8? No. You have to invest, people, if you're going to grow. You know, I have nothing with people growing. You can grow into nicer equipment, nicer yarn, high-end yarn, but you got to start somewhere. And I'm just trying to help you get started. So, no, an 8 will not work for these numbers. A US number 9. All right, so real quick, because I don't want to, I really want to try to get as much, keep these videos short. All right, here we go. I'm going to lay out some needles. All right, I've covered the yarn. Here are the needles. You need to invest in some needles now. If you've been watching long enough, and you've crying out to me, oh, Jay, I want to know how to knit. Okay, well, you got to invest now. But I keep my things simple. Like I say, it's up to you how much you want to spend. And one day you'll be able to go to high end. But right now, just take something nice and simple. Clover needles are easy. I don't represent the company, but they are great to learn because they hold the stitches on the needle. If you work with metal and you're not seasoned or used to them, your stitches are going to jump everywhere when we get to doing all these yarn overs. And then you're going to have to like pull out and pull back. But at least clovers help. Clover needles will keep the stitches on the needle. They're bamboo. They're lightweight. They are joint friendly. If you're older like me, they are joint friendly. All right, because they're light. All right, you're going to, the first thing, this time on the first sweater, we did the whole sweater on a number 9 needle. And I know professional knitters probably like, oh, Lord, she just don't know how. No, I was trying to make a point, trying to get an understanding first of just a simple idea of the top down. Now we're going to tweak this sweater. And first thing you're going to need for the neck and when we cast on, you're going to need a US number 8. We're going down in needle size. So yes, you will have to go and get you some coupons or whatever. Here's a US number 8, and it's a 29 inch. If you have that, fine. You could, well, See, just get, sometimes I think there's a 24-inch too, you know, just something so we can put our neck. This is the needle we will do the neck with. That's where we're going to start. The next needle, when we go to the body of the sweater, of course, is our clover, US number 9. You can have, most stores will carry a 36-inch. If you're fortunate enough, like I did, and find a 48-inch, especially if you're a large size, to hold all these stitches, you will come out better. You will enjoy it more. You won't have to have so many scrunched up stitches. But a US number 9, 36, or a 48-inch in length. Circular needles. All right. For your sleeve. Okay. For the sleeves are already included in this top-down sweater. They're not like we're going to pick up, so we can't go down a size. We can't change the gauge, or you're going to see a gauge line. You're going to see that the sweater, that it changed right at the on your sleeve. So you have to stay with a US number 9, since the sleeves are already knitted in the sweater, and this is a 16-inch. A US number 9, 16-inch circular needle. You got coupons, you need at least 2. I have 3. I try to do 3, and I'll show you why, to save a step or 2. But at least 2. So we don't have to, so you don't have to sit around and wait. Just have 2. Okay? And then last but not least, to do your cuffs, the cuff of the sweater, just like the neckband, we go down in size. That's to keep everything nice and neat and polished and looks really nice. So that we're going back to a US number 8. These are double pointed needles. They are, they may not be the most popular, but they are a necessary, they are necessary to learn how to use them. You know, you can do all kind of other, you know, magic loop and different other things for small circumferences. But most, I'm sure most instructors or, you know, designers, they want you to know how to use double points, because that's just part of the deal, people. That's just part of the process. So a pack of number 8 double pointed needles. And I think that's all. I am going to be knitting in real time. This is some yarn I've had a long time. This is Vanna, of course, again, and this is Dusty Green, I believe it's called. Yes, Dusty Green. But I had about 6 skein of this that I've had for years, and it looked really nice, and I thought, well, that's what I'll use for real time. So, there we go. These are the supplies. You've seen an overview. All right, the next thing, I guess I want to go over the schematic just a little bit, just to bring you up to speed. But I will not, like I said, be going over how to get you know, get all the numbers. You have to go back to basic top-down 101 video. All right, I believe that's it. So let me get off and clear this up and come back. Okay, so I'm going to quickly, we're going to start this sweater at the schematic stage. Just to recap a little bit, because like I say, you really need to have worked sweater top down 101 first. Otherwise, all that I'm going to share with you is not going to have any meaning. But if you've worked that sweater, and if you are new, like I say, it would be, my suggestion is to do top down 101, but in a solid color. I was just using that yarn because so many people have it, and I just wanted to see what the yarn would do, how it would stripe, and I enjoyed working with it. But for a beginner or still new, or if you're not a seasoned knitter yet, just working on a solid color. All right, now let me get on, because I had to redo this tape, and I don't really know where I am on in the video, but this is the schematic. A schematic is just a simple drawing up. It's just a visual. I'm a visual learner, and so I'm showing you in a visual way because it's a lot easier for me to show you than to write it down. So this is our pattern, just not written out. All right, the schematic is just a simple drawing. If we were looking down from the top of the sweater, all I did, I took something round and I made a circle, and I left the circle open. Here's the open front of the part of the sweater. Here's the neckline, and here's kind of the bottom, you know, around the shoulders of the sweater. So the schematic is just something that, a visual that we can fill in numbers. Right after this video, right after I finish talking about the schematic, I will have him put our information sheet. You know, I'm getting much better at writing up things. Our information sheet after that, and it is simply it's a way for me to help you to find a size, and then once you find a size, it's a way for me to help you have some numbers to fill in your, you know, your schematic. Like I said, you should have numbers already, and so I'm just going to go over what the numbers mean and where we go from here. Looking at the schematic, this is from sweater number 1, top down 101. This is the schematic I use. I just redrew it to clean it up a little bit. Now, if I'm wearing the sweater would be turned this way. If we were wearing the sweater, and our front would be right there. And so now you can see that I have, let's see, make sure good. All right, I have 2 fronts. Of course, I have 2 sleeves, 1, 2, and then I have the back. All right, so just so that I can see and show you, I'm turning it this way. Does that make sense? All right, and make sure that I stay in the camera frame. All right, so now let me go over it real quick. On my originals, on my sweater 101, I have these numbers. These numbers, the numbers down at the bottom, right here, these are the numbers I need to get my sweater, or I want to end my sweater with. And then I take you through a math formula to show you how I got these numbers by simply counting. If you were fortunate enough to learn from a knit shop or some, you know, great, you know, knitting professional, then you would have learned the swatch method, which is simply so many stitches an inch and how many in that. I swatch, but I do a counting swatch. I knit up, like I said, I won't even go through all that. It's on the first video where you actually sit down and count your stitches. So for my, so for the front, I would count from one side to my belly button, and then I would round that. If that number didn't round up, that number of stitches didn't round up to a number divisible by 4, I would simply round it up. So if my number landed on 43, well, I know I'm going to do 44. If my number landed on 46, I need to go up to 48, whatever. These are the numbers that I want at the bottom of my sweater when I get through. So, and you saw me wear the sweater, and I like the sweater. I like the fit of it. It was just inexpensive yarn. And so that once I go into nicer yarn, I'm not wasting my time, my money, and stressing out, and then another one to the heat pile. You know, we want you to get good results. So this was a schematic. So now, but on that sweater, this new sweater that we're making, sweater number 2, I'm going to just turn the paper. Sweater number 2, I wanted to tweak it a little bit. I wanted to refine it just a little bit more. I felt like I needed, and this is the way you will do too. I think on the video, I will say something like, well, if you need to tweak it or something, or need to change the numbers, you can just redo the formula. No, don't even do that. I'm going to show you how easy it is. Since my numbers are numbers divisible by 4, that means most of my numbers are very compatible. So for instance, on my new sweater, the one you're looking at the schematic for now, that we're going to work together, we're going to knit it step by step. I like the fronts. The fronts are staying the same, 44. My back is 88 because all I have to do is add the 2 fronts and I automatically get the back. My sleeves were 60. They were just a mathematical guess. You know, I was trying to, give you some numbers to work from. But I feel that, okay, I want to come down a little bit in my sleeve. I want them a little nicer. That first sweater is very, just every day. I can go to Walmart. I can go somewhere. I can go walking. I can go to the park. I can go to the movie. I need a sweater. This one is going to be a little more dressier, a little nicer, because we're going to put the lace down the front. All you have to do to decrease in my world, you just take 4 stitches away. From whatever that number was, I had 60. If I take 4 stitches, I get 56. That's my new number that I want to stop increasing at. So if I have 56 over here, I had 56 over here. If you need to add, say if you were at 56, but yours felt a little tight, you just add 4 numbers. That's how simple it is. to work this method, you know, this simple visual method that I work. All right, so now the whole point of a schematic is so that you can visually see right away without having to go through 5 pages, 6 charts, and figure out and circle different numbers. And, you know, nothing wrong with that. That's the way I worked that way too when I started going to knit shops with my friends. But I never forgot where I learned, where I taught myself. All right, so now these are the numbers I want to end up, but we need to know where to start, just like that one. So I went through how to find the numbers to start. For me, each front, I will have 18 stitches. Each sleeve, I will start with 8 stitches. My back, I have 36 stitches for my back. 36. So, all I have to do is add those numbers up, the numbers that I want to start with, and I get 88. 88 stitches. Well, we're going to start with a 1x1 ribbing for the neck on our US number 8. On the US number 8, I have mine probably already out of the package, but on my US number 8, you know, I suggest clover for new knitters, or, you know, they just hold your stitches, trust me. All right, so I'm going to cast on 88 stitches, but to work the 1x1 ribbing in flat, this is not in the round, this is just flat, working back and forth. I need that one extra stitch to make it an odd number. We've done it on everything you've knit with me. So I simply add one more stitch. So now I need a cast on of 89. So that's where we are, and that's where we're going to start. I'm casting on 89 stitches, and I will be back, and we will actually start to work step 1. Remember, I'm working in steps. The first step is going to be your neck and shoulders, and that's where we are. So, like I said, I've done this several times. I don't know if I'm leaving out anything, but I think I've covered it. So, I will be right back, and we will start the ribbing process on our US number 8. All right, so I've cast on, and I'm just going to kind of walk you through just to remind you how to start your 1x1 rib when we're working flat. I cast on 88 plus the 1 extra stitch. And when I cast on that first row, because it's just a row of bumps, I call that a wrong side. So I would simply go, and the first and last stitch, I call them edge. They're too small to be a border, so I just say edge stitch. So I knit my first and last stitch. You may be one who likes to slip yours. Either way, whichever you like. So I would start out with, of course, down here, when I start where the cast on is, I would knit the first stitch. Then it starts the ribbing. And then the ribbing would follow with a purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, all the way across until you get to the opposite end. It's the same exact steps I do in every sweater, every video. When I get to the last 2 stitches, if I started with a purl, since this is a wrong side row, then I should end with a purl, and then I end with knitting, or you can slip your edge stitch, or some people knit through the back loop. They have all kind of ways. I just simply knit the stitch. Now, I did my ribbing for 7 rows. Here's my 7 rows. Row number 7 is the wrong side. So I just finished row number 7. And of course, you know, I'm working on my US number 8 to make, to pull this neck in a little bit. So now when we turn the work, now I'm on the right side, and this is row number 8. And there's 2 things we're going to do once we turn. And we're on the right side, getting ready to start the body of the sweater. In this step, we're doing the neck edge and then down to the shoulders. All right, well, we're getting ready to do the shoulders of this sweater. One of the first things you want to do is to go ahead and take out some markers. You're going to need some markers. We're going to go through, as we knit this first row, we're going to set in markers in the place where you have markers for your schematic. Every section of your schematic, we will put in a marker. So we will know how, you know, when and where to make the increase. So the first thing I want to do is to take my US number 9, and I'm showing you in the last video how to tame the cord, how to straighten it out a little bit so it's not all over and crazy. And here's my number 8. See, my ribbing is on my 8. Here's my number 9. So, on my schematic, let's go. Now, I hope you got a chance, before I get started knitting, I hope you had a chance to see the information sheet. I use the same one from sweater number 1. The numbers are still workable. I'll probably use that until I, for some reason, need to change it. But, you know, you can see the size. You can see the numbers to fit into your schematic. But anyway, it's the same chart, so you didn't have to worry about not being able to have that information or have to look for it. All right, so in my schematic, I'm going to start out, because I finished my ribbing, and my first section is a front, and I need to knit 18 stitches. So the first thing I'm going to do is just knit my 18 stitches, just like this. This is one front. It's really the right front if I had it laying down, but doesn't really matter. They still have the same numbers each front. So I need to knit my 18 stitches from my schematic onto my number 9 needles. We are now starting the shoulders. Alright, so let me count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17, 18. So, and you can always double count too, just to make sure. So now I'm going to take a marker, something bright and small, not too big, because we're going to have a lot of markers, and you don't want to, once we start increasing, you don't want markers, those big long hanging dangling markers getting in the way. That's my needle hitting the tripod. Alright, so now the next section that I see on my schematic, I need to knit 8 stitches for a sleeve. That'll be the right sleeve, so I'm going to knit my 8 stitches, just like this. Let's see, 2, 4, 6. Let me count again. 2, 4, 6, 8. I grab another marker. I put the marker on. That's one sleeve section right there. Here's a front, here's a sleeve. Alright, the next section is a large section. It's my back, and I need to knit 36 stitches. I don't know what your number is, but you're just going to knit across the back. And then when I get to the end, I'll tell you something. So we're just throw my yarn on the floor here. It's a rainy night in Georgia. It's cold and it's raining. But not a storm, it's just raining. So, a good time to sit and knit with my friends. So I am just knitting across. I'll stop in just a minute and we'll count. And then I'll remind you of something. Alright. I don't think that's enough. I think I need to keep going. That don't look like 36 just by eyeballing. Let me go a little further. Alright, let's see what we have. Alright, for my back, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28. Well, I'm way off. 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, and 36. Okay. So now, let me tell you this. You remember we had that one extra stitch because we did the ribbing flat and we needed an odd number? Alright, I could have right here in the center back, just anywhere, if if we were going to put a design in the back, or maybe just didn't need that stitch, we could have just knit 2 of these stitches together. But since I'm not putting a design in the back is just plain of this sweater, but at the end of the sweater, I will need an extra stitch because I need to end the sweater with the 1x1 ribbing. So I'm going to just let it float on the back. And so instead of 36, you have to remember, if you don't take that stitch out, go ahead and knit 1 extra stitch for the back. I don't want an extra stitch in any of my sections, you know, my sleeve or my front. So the only place that makes sense is just to leave it in the center back. So now I'm going to count again and see if I have 37 instead of 36. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, and there's that 1 extra stitch. Of course, when I count it, really, it's going to be like the center back. So I grab a marker. Now I've taken care of that extra stitch and knit it across my back of this sweater. The next section I have is another sleeve, so that's 8 stitches. So I'm going to quickly knit my 8 stitches. Two, 4, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 2, 4, 6, 8. Grab my marker. That ends that sleeve. Now I should have 18 stitches to match my opposite front. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, and 18. So I can go ahead, just say if you came up short, maybe some kind of way you just drop, I don't know, just things happen. Then you could just knit into the front and the back of a stitch and make up that extra stitch. Or if you had 1 too many, just knit 2 together. Don't pull it out, people. Don't go back. Okay. You know, things happen. But I had the right number, so I'm just going to go ahead and knit off on as I finish knitting from my number 8 needle to my number 9, which I will knit the rest of the sweater in. Just knitting. Alright, here is my number 8. Now it's free and I can cast on something else. I can cast on another sweater. Here is the beginning. As I turn the work, as you can see, I have my marker set in place so that I can begin going down the top down on this sweater. Alright, the next thing, now listen to this. When I turn the work after, now I'm on my US number 9s, I have my markers in, but I am on a wrong side, so naturally I need to purl to get to the opposite side. But I need to do this because we are going to start the pattern row on this wrong side, on a purl side, because the pattern, the first row of the pattern is a purl. Now I'm going to stop now and tell you where I got the pattern, where I got the stitch, and then I'll come back and we'll work that. Do you remember this book? A lot of you got this book either from Joann's or Amazon. I have really enjoyed this book. The crochet one didn't have enough. You know, there's a crochet one that I use sometimes. It's not, I didn't get as much as I have gotten from this book. Even though the stitches are very simple, they're stitches that are, you know, just public domain stitches, but they're just, it's just a nice reference book. So if you don't have this one, this is one for your library. Now I can't even remember the page. I'll get it in just a minute, people. Hey, look, people, I'll find it in just a minute. That's mean I probably could never do something live. Okay, here we go. On this book, on page 237, let's see, can I move it in front? Make sure I'm in the camera frame. 237, there's a stitch right here. This one, and it's called Wavy Border. Now, this is a very common stitch. I have it in lots of books. I've used it over the years, but when I found it in this book, it worked out great because this one was worked over a number of 13 stitches. Some of the other ones I have from other books, they use 14 or 16 or 18. They use more stitches. This one is a little more compact and it has 14 rows. So this one worked out great for this project, but it's a wavy border stitch that we're going to add on each side, each front of our sweater. All right, so I just wanted you to see where I got the stitch from. All right, so now back to the sweater. Since that first row of that pattern starts on a wrong side row, and this is what we need to do. I need 2 special markers, something different. Keep all these markers the same color if you can, you know, all blue or all purple or whatever. These are the markers that are going to tell you where we're going to do the increase. When we get ready to increase in just a second or two, you're going to know every time you see one of these markers, we need to increase on the right side. But when you see 2 markers that, you know, bright purple, I use red or whatever, orange, but that will let you know that that's a border marker. This is where we need to do the lace. Here we go. So on the pattern, I'm just going to read it. I'm not even going to put this one up on the screen yet. The first 2 stitches on the wrong side I need to knit. So 1, 2. All right? There are 13 stitches in this lace. So I knit the first 2 stitches, then I bring the yarn in front and I put, well, I need 1 marker. Let me go across, then I'll put that marker. Now I'm going to purl. 1, 2, that's 1. Well, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5. That's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, hold on, I'm coming up. Okay, this is what I was trying to get to. All right, so I need 13 stitches for this lace, but on every wrong side row, starting with this first row, the first 2 stitches I need to knit. So I knit 1, 2. Then I'm going to purl all across to the last 2 stitches, put my yarn in back and knit those 2 stitches. Now let me count and make sure that I have only 13. This is the lace. This is the front edge of this sweater. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. Now I will put a marker that will tell me this section is the lace. Does that make sense? I hope I didn't botch it too bad. Now, as you see, now I just need to bring the yarn in front and just continue to purl, because I am on the wrong side of the sweater. So I just need to purl these stitches till I get to the other end, sliding markers as I go. We have not started the increase or anything yet, but we will when we turn the row. So now I'm up to the marker. I just simply slide this and I keep on till I get to this end, and I will see you back in just a minute. Okay, I'm coming to the end, and I don't know, my camera's telling me that I'm running out of space, but oh man. All right, so here I'm on the opposite end now, and remember the last 13 stitches, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, I have to put lace. So I've already purled, I've slid this marker, and then I've purled up, and I know the last 13 stitches will be my front edge lace on this side of the sweater. Does that make sense? Alright, so I have to put my yarn in back. You know, I'm on the purl side, on the wrong side, and I knit the first 2 stitches of the lace section like that. Then yarn back in front, and now I purl to the last 2 stitches. Just going across. And I see that I have the last 2 coming up. And now I put the yarn in back, and now I knit these 2 stitches. We have placed markers. I'm going to turn to the front of the sweater now. Here is my neck edge. We have, believe it or not, we have started the lace. because I have my little identifying marker for the lace. All the other markers I want the same color because I'm going to be increasing, and I need to remember where to put those increases. And then on this side I end it with 13 stitches where I knit the first and the last 2 stitches, but I have a nice marker to remind me this is the lace edge. And so what I want to do now, I don't want to interrupt my row sequence once we start knitting. So what I think I will do is stop this tape and then put in a new disc, because my disc is flashing. I don't know what's going on, you know. So that once we start knitting, because guess what? We're going to knit backwards and forwards again. 1, 2, 1, 2, to get this lace on here. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's exciting. The rows are not that hard. And I think it's just going to add a little something, going to light you up when you see how much fun and how pretty and how easy and quick it is to put these 2 lace edges on the front of this sweater. So I think I'll just stop this, and then I will come put a new disc in and be back. I'm ready to go, and I want to make sure I can get it all in. We're going to work the 14 rows row by row, and I'm going to call it out. Alright, we've already worked row 1. Remember, it started on the wrong side, so we did that little purl sequence, and we'll do it again when we get a chance. But now I've turned the work to the right side of the sweater, and we're ready to start working row 2. This is row 2 of the lace pattern. This is the left side of the sweater, and here's the right side. Right, well, say front. Left front, right front. On this left front, since I'm right-handed, I'm knitting in this direction. Alright, so that means when the pattern or the row comes up on the screen for you to see and to read and work with me, you're going to start at the end of the row for this side. And we will work that lace and work around and increase. And then on this side, you start as we would normally work the row. So let me just show you how that will go. It will come up. This is row 2, right side of this lace pattern, and it reads. I'm going to read it as it should be, as it is written. Knit 4, yarn over, knit 5. Yarn over, knit 2 stitches together, yarn over, knit 2. Now, looking at it on the screen, for this side, we have to knit it backwards. Just start on the back end. For row number 2, now I'm going to knit 2, 1, 2, yarn over. See, I'm reading it backwards. Knit 2 together. Okay, now yarn over, and you're going to knit 5. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now yarn over, and there should be 4 stitches left. Knit 4. Alright, you have just worked in reverse the left front of row number 2. Now I will simply slide the marker, and now I am working in the sweater section. So I knit to the next marker. All these markers, they're going to be the same color, and I suggest you put them the same color. Lets me know that I will be increasing in front of every one of these markers. So let's go. I knit over towards the marker. I will knit to 1 stitch before this marker. There's the 1 stitch. Here's the marker. I will yarn over. Let me put it over. I will yarn over, then knit the stitch. Slide the marker. Now yarn over and kind of hold it with your thumb if you have to. And then just kind of hold it there. Yarn over. We want this yarn over on this side of the marker. So yarn over, and now I start knitting towards the next marker. We have just increased on this sleeve and this back section. Well, not the back yet, but on this side of the sleeve and this side of the front. I got ahead of myself. We've increased on this front and on this side of the sleeve. And now I continue across to the next marker of the sleeve. Got ahead of myself. Go to one stitch before the marker, right there. I do a yarn over. I knit the stitch. I slide the marker, and then I do a yarn over and hold it. Make sure it's on this side, and I continue to knit across, knitting to the next marker. So it's going to be a second or two here. So I can get over there. We're just knitting now. Nothing. I'm going to do this first row without cutting off the camera. And then I'll save the battery by cutting it on and off. But let me just get across here. So this is going across my back area now till I get to the next marker. Get some yarn. I don't want to talk because I'll start talking, and before I know it, I get off track. I'm trying to save the battery, so trying to save as much space and get as much on here. I put a new disc in, so. Alright, so I see this marker coming up. This is the other side of the back. I knit to 1 stitch before the marker. There it is. There's the marker. Yarn over. Knit the stitch. Slide the marker. Yarn over, and then I'm ready to start knitting on to the next marker. Okay. I see the next marker, which is in that little sleeve area. 1 stitch before the marker, yarn over. Just yarn over the needle. Knit the stitch. Slide the marker. Yarn over on this side of the marker and continue to knit. Okay, now I see a red marker, or you know, a different color marker, and I know it's time for me to work the lace. Now on this side we're going to work the lace, work the row, and it's probably still on the screen as it is written. It says, I'm going to slide the marker, here we go, knit 4. This is row 2, we're still on row 2, so don't move your counter or your marker, your little row indicator. Knit 4, so that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Alright, then it says yarn over, knit 5. That's 3, 4, and 5. Alright, then it says yarn over, knit 2 stitches together. Just knit 2 stitches together. Then yarn over one more time and knit the last 2 stitches. And you have just completed row 2. And not only row 2, but you have increased each section of your sweater that's on your schematic. We've added the lace here, lace edge here. We've increased the sleeve here. Here's the back. We've increased another sleeve, and then the front. Now, row 3 in all wrong side rows. I may as well go on and do one and then this first one. And then we won't, I won't have to do this more on camera. All right, as soon as you turn, here's the lace edge. Every time, every wrong side, knit 2, 1, 2. Yarn in front, be careful not to lose yarn overs. Now purl to the last 2 stitches of this lace. I've got a red marker so I'll know where my last 2. Take your time, don't lose your yarn overs. I am purling to the last 2 stitches. Okay, I see them coming up. I put my yarn in back, and now I knit those last 2. I knit the first 2 and the last 2. Now, on the screen, you will notice that I give you the row count after you have worked a row. We have worked row 2, so I still should be at 15 stitches. At the end of row 2, you would have 15 stitches. Well, I should still be at 15 even on this wrong side. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. That's just to help you, to keep you, in case you get lost, you can always check your row count only after you've worked the row. And then, of course, now I can purl all the other stitches, slide the marker, and now I'm just purling, which is a nice rest. So I can go through and purl all the way to the opposite end of the lace, and then I have to remember to knit those stitches on the lace. Just slide the marker and continue to purl. Now I will stop and let you continue across. I will continue to work across, and then I will see you. I'm just turning, let's see if we see how the increases look. If you can see them yet. See, now you see the increases start. Right there. You don't see that one. That's the lace, but here's the sleeve. But you can get an idea. Alright, I will see you back at, this is row 3 that we're working on. Keep track of your rows. I will see you back at row 4 on the right side. Alright. I'm finishing up. I thought, let me go ahead since I'm at the end. This is still row 3, and I'm at this end of the neck of my sweater. So I want to put the yarn, remember every wrong side row of the lace, put the yarn in back, knit the first 2 stitches there, then yarn back in front, purl over to the last 2 stitches. So just purl. Just a reminder, real quick, after a while this is going to be so, you're going to have such a nice rhythm. And you're not falling and trying to lose your place on a sheet or 5 sheets and trying to figure out where you are. You're just going to follow the schematic. Alright, then I see the last 2 stitches. On this wrong side, I put the yarn in back. I knit those last 2. I knit the first 2 and last 2 of the lace section. Now when I turn the work, now we are on the right side of the sweater. You can see we're on the right side, and this is row 4. Row 4, I'm going to read it out and then we're going to work it. Row 4 reads, knit 5. Now pay attention because this is the only one in this little group here in this pattern. Let's start again. Knit 5. Now slip 1, knit 2 stitches together. Then pass that slip stitch over. Let's say it again. Slip 1, knit 2 stitches together, and then pass the slip stitch over. Then you knit 2 And then in parentheses it has yarn over, knit 2 together. Now do it again. Yarn over, knit 2 together, and in row 4 with a knit 1. All right, here we go. I've got it right here. Now, since whenever we start, I'm right-handed, so I always start on the back of the row. So the row is on the screen. Let's read it and work it backwards. Knit 1. All right, now knit 2 stitches together, just like it's printed. Yarn over. Let's do it again. Knit 2 stitches together. See, it says twice. Yarn over. Then you knit 2 stitches, 1, 2. Then I'm going to slip 1. Then I'm going to knit 2 stitches together. Now reach back and pass that slip stitch over. And I end row 4 with knit 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I end the row with a knit 5. Whew, I always breathe a sigh of relief. Now I can see the lace start to work for me. Now I continue across. Well, I slide the marker, but I continue to work to the next marker, the markers that tell me where to do my increases, because like I suggest, put them all the same color. So I come to 1 stitch before the marker. All the increases, we're doing this simple increase. There's the 1 stitch, there's the marker. Yarn over, knit the stitch, slide the marker. Now, yarn over and continue to knit to the next marker. All right, so I come up to, there's the last marker before the, last stitch before the marker. I do a yarn over, I knit the stitch, I slide the marker, so it's all the same. Yarn over, and knit to the next marker. All right, so I'm going to continue to knit around, making my increases so that we can get to the lace section again. That's where you need me to actually show what we're doing. Everything else now you know how to make the increases in each section. Back in just a minute. Alright, so I'm coming up to the opposite end of where we'll do our lace again, and I knit over. I see my lace marker right there because I've picked a nice bright color, and as before, this time we knit the row as you normally would knit the row. It says, again, knit 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This is still row 4 now. Slip the slip 1, knit 2 stitches together, reach back and pass the slip stitch over, knit 2, 1, 2. Now do a yarn over, knit 2 stitches together. Now it says do it again. Yarn over, knit 2 stitches together, and and then in with a knit 1 to end row 4. Knit 1. And at the end of row 4, you should have 13 stitches. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. So, now, the next row is row 5. Of course, row 5 is the wrong side, and all the stitches are purl except the first and last 2 stitches in the lace area. So now, I will see you back at row 6. Where we're actually doing the lace. So take care, but don't lose any yarn overs. because you have all these increases. Now, let me just flip back. Now you can kind of tell. See, now you can see. And if there's no opening, if one of the openings is kind of blocked or clogged off, you know, oops, I fell asleep. And I missed one or something. But now you can see. So I will see you back at row 6. Alright, so now we are ready for, we're on the right side again, so we're ready for row 6. And of course, this is the left side of the sweater. Here's my left hand, here's the right side. On the left side, remember, unless you're left-handed and you're doing reverse. I don't know how all that works, but so we want to, I'm going to read the row, and then we'll work the row backwards. Row 6, read, knit 4, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over, knit 2, now in parentheses, yarn over, knit 2 together, now repeat it, yarn over, knit 2 together, end with a knit 1. So, on the left hand side of the sweater, for me, because I'm right-handed, I will start on the back end of row 6. It says knit 1, right? Then there is knit 2 together. So I put knit 2 together, yarn over. Do it again. Knit 2 together. Oops, split out, knit 2 together, and do a yarn over. Alright, then knit 2 stitches, 1, 2. Alright, here we go with slip 1, knit 1, pass that slip stitch over. And row 6 says end with knit 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I knit those 4 stitches. Alright, so that's the lace as we start row 6, as we finish up the first half. And then, of course, just for fun, I set my sights on my increase markers. So I knit to the first marker. It's a yarn over. I knit the stitch right before the marker. Slide the marker. Yarn over and continue to knit to the next marker. I will see you back on the opposite end of row 6. We are still on row 6. We have to work around, and I'll see you back for the lace on this edge. Take care. Don't forget to do your increases. Okay, so I've worked my way around to the second part of the lace of row 6, and I'm coming up to my lace marker because it's a different color and I can see it. I've done my increases. Before I do that, let's just take a look. Let's go back a little bit and spread out your yarn overs and see, can you see the yarn overs? That's just a good way to check yourself sometimes. You can just stop a second and just spread it open and see if you see the eyelets all lining up with that center stitch going right down the center. Does that make sense? So I know I'm okay there. So I'm at the end of row 6, I'm coming up and I knit this stitch, and so I want to show you something because I try to think of every little thing just to help save you stress and time, you know. Because, you know, nothing's perfect and sometimes you might just forget or fall asleep. So on this, keep a little crochet hook, like I said before, keep a little crochet hook to help you. Say if you were watching something, a movie, or I don't know, you just got distracted and you forgot on the purl side, on this side, you start purling and you purled all the stitches, and now you're on this side and you realize when you get here, oh Jay, I can't take all that out. Oh look, I forgot to knit those 2 stitches. Remember, on the lace, on the purl side of the work, you have to knit the 2 stitches on this end and knit the last 2 stitches. So you're sailing along and then you get right here and you can look and you can see and you go, oh man, All right, take your crochet hook, and you know that you need, if you look at the stitch right below it, you can see that's a knit stitch. So I need a little bump. So I put this little, I just pull the yarn out, pull the little yarn out of the loops. There's the loop. There's the yarn. I pulled it out. Okay. And so now I want to make sure I have 2 bumps in front. So I put the yarn in front of the loops like this. And then I reach in. Let's just start over here. I reach through the loop. Try not to let it get away. Kind of hold it with your fingernail or with your finger. I take the crochet hook and I go in from the back of the loop with this yarn, this little loose yarn in front to make a purl bump. So there it is. Pop it back on the needle on that side. Now I got to find that other stitch. Here it is right here. Now I don't know how close this is, but you see, so make sure that that loose yarn is in front of the loop. Can you see all of this? You take your crochet hook and go in from the back to the front, pull that loose yarn through, pop it back on. Okay. Now, I have it like it should be. I just I forgot. I was going so fast, I forgot to knit those 2 stitches. So now they have been fixed on the right side. Now here's my marker. Make sure your marker. All right, so now we are at, oh, and just count your stitches, just to make sure. Let's see, we are on row 6. And so you should have, let's see, 13, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. Until you work the row, you will have the next stitch count of the row above it. So since I have not worked this 6 yet, row 6, I would still have row 4 stitch count, which is 13. Now I'm getting ready to work row 6, and I'm going to work it in the right order. It says, knit 4, 2, 3, and 4. All right, now, slip 1, knit 1, reach back and pass that slip stitch over, okay? Now, knit 2, 1, 2. All right, there's a sequence of yarn over, knit 2 together. Just knit 2 stitches together. All right, now do it again. Yarn over and knit 2 stitches together. And you will end row 6 with knit 1. Now if you count the row that we have worked it, you should have 12 stitches. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Voila! You have just finished row 6 of the lace, and you did all your increases, all your section increases. So there's nothing to do but turn the work and work row 7, and that means I'll meet you back at row 8. And on the lace, again, knit the first 2, knit the last 2 stitches here and here on the wrong side. Everything else is purled. You're doing a great job. Isn't this fun? Well, we're just getting started now. We're still up here at the neck. We're still just at the beginning of the shoulders. So I will see you back at row 8. All right, so I'm back for row 8. I hope you are having a great time. I hope, you're just taking a little time for yourself and knitting with me. I just hope as the holidays approach that we finally, like I say, get some still time, just some quiet time, don't you? Okay, so we're up to row 8, and so far, look at what we have. It's beginning to take shape. Now let me read row 8. I'm on the right side, and I'm going to read it as it is written. Row 8 says, knit 3, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over, knit 2. Now, yarn over, knit 2 together, do it again. Yarn over, knit 2 together, end with a knit 1. So, on my row 8, on the left front, because I'm knitting this direction, I will start at the back of the row. So the row is on the screen, but let's read it and work it from back to front. It says knit 1. Now, knit 2 together, yarn over. Now do it again. Knit 2 together, oops, my yarn split there. Let me get that. Let's knit 2 together. Now do the yarn over. Don't forget that. Reading backwards on row 8. Then the next thing is knit 2. 1, 2, slip 1, knit 1, pass that slip stitch over, and in with a knit 3. So I have that. All right. I slide the marker that represents the lace, and of course now I start around the whole sweater, the shoulders. We're still up at the shoulders, and I'm increasing at every increase marker. And like I said, if you put them all the same color, it's a good way just to know and to stay in where you should be. There's the stitch before the marker. Just one more time. Yarn over, knit the stitch, slide the marker, yarn over, and continue to knit around to the next marker. Alright, I will see you on the other end of this row 8, so we can do the lace here. So continue around, be back in just a sec. Alright, I'm coming up to the end of row 8. I've checked and I've got all my increases for all my sections of the sweater. I see my red marker coming up to let me know I'm getting in the lace zone. So, slide the marker. Now we're going to work the row as it is written. On row 8 it says knit 3. 1, 2, and 3. Then there's a slip 1, knit 1, reach back and pass that slip stitch over. Just like that. Then knit 2. 1, 2. Alright, yarn over, knit 2 together. Again, yarn over, knit 2 together. And in row 8 with a knit 1. There you go. Oh, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Oh. So that's the end of row 8, and of course when you turn on the wrong side, you're going to start row 9. And don't forget to knit the first 2 and the last 2 stitches of the lace. Everything else is purl. Just trying to keep you on track. So you're back at row 10. Okay, well, I'm really happy to see that we're just moving right along. And I am up to row 10 already of our lace pattern. Alright, so, and I've checked my increases at every section, and I'm seeing like everything is going great. So let's read row 10. It's on the right side, so it says, knit 2, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over, knit 2, yarn over, knit 2 stitches together. Now do it again. Yarn over, knit 2 together, then in with a knit 1. So let's go. And on this side, remember, I start at the back end of row 10. So it's on the screen and I'm working it backwards. So knit 1. Okay, now knit 2 stitches together and do a yarn over. Do it again. Knit 2 stitches together and do a yarn over. Now knit 2, 1, 2, slip 1, knit 1, reach back and pass the slip stitch over and in with a knit 2. So there is row 10, the first half. And now, of course, we continue across, increasing at every increase marker as we've been doing. So we just continue across, go up to 1 stitch before the marker, yarn over, knit that 1 stitch, which that is the center stitch, slide the marker, yarn over again. Now continue to knit across to the next marker. I will see you back at the opposite end so that we can do the lace on this side. Back in just a minute. Alright, I'm on the second half of row number 10. So I'm coming around. I've made my increases at all my increase points or sections. So I'm coming around to this side part of row 10, and I'm going to work it as it's written on the screen. Row 10, in the normal way we work it, it says knit 2. So 1, 2, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over. Okay? Then it says knit 2 again. So 1, 2. Now, yarn over, knit 2 stitches together, do it again, yarn over, knit 2 stitches together, and in row 10 with a knit 1. Just that quick and easy. So, now let's turn it like, so we can just kind of take a minute and look before we go on. Can you see? Here's the front, here's my lace edge. You can look at yours too, kind of spread it out a little bit. You can see it taking shape. You can see the increases. Here's the sleeve right here, and the increase on each side, and the same on this side. Well, so now you have to work row 11, which is the wrong side. And of course, I'll see you back at row 12. And man, we are just getting a lot done here. I'm very excited. What do you think of this so far? Yeah, you know, after a while, I'm doing this late at night. So, wise, you know, word to the wise, don't do it if you're tired. You know, like you get off work and you think, oh, I got to rush home. I just want to get to my sweater. Well, you might need to relax a little bit, you know, if you're getting home from work, or those that still work and everything, or you've had a stressful day or something. You know, maybe knit something where you can just be relaxed and not have to think about, okay, on this side, do this, on the wrong side. You know, but once you know, relax and you're ready to go, really, it's a nice little sensible knit. And all we're doing is filling in our little schematic. See how all we're doing is filling in what we're supposed to do in each little section. And using our stitch out of the stitch book. So, you work on row 11. I will do the same. And then I will see you back at row 12. Alright. I'm back and we're ready to work row 12. So, and let me just say this. I was just saying a few minutes before when I was working the last row. And, you know, this is a fun knit, but if you're tired, it can be mind draining trying to, you know, just concentrate. Even though it's not that hard. It's just, okay, did I do that? Did I do that? So even I do this. Remember my little tip about masking tape? Sometimes when there's one little something that I have to be careful, or something I seem to keep forgetting or something, you just take it and write it on masking tape. Just take a little marker, write it on the masking tape. So right here I could write, so if I'm tired, I'm doing this late at night, on the wrong side for the lace, I knit two stitches, and then I kind of purl, purl in between. You know, use your own little shorthand. And then I end with a knit 2 stitches. So, see? And it doesn't hurt. Just make sure you put it on the back. See, it doesn't hurt anything. It doesn't have that much sticky. Not duct tape. Masking tape. This kind of tape. You know, that was, I showed you my little tip. I use masking tape a lot to remember little insignificant things that I might forget, or that might throw me off. I'll just make myself a little sticky note right on right on my project. So that way it helps keep me on track. Alright, so let me make sure I'm in camera frame. Yep. And let's see, why is my camera? Okay. I'm going to tilt it down just a little bit. Hold on. Right there. There we go. Better. Alright. Row 12. Let me read row 12. We're almost there. Okay. Row 12 reads, knit 1, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over, knit 2. Now, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2. Oh, that's a little different. Alright, and of course, on this side of my work, on the left side, left front, I'm going to start on the back end. So, the pattern, this row is on the screen, but I'm working it backwards. Knit 2, 1, 2, okay. Then I have a yarn over. Then there's a knit 2 together. Then there's a yarn over. Then there's a knit 1. Then there's another yarn over. Then there's knit 2, 1, 2, slip 1, knit 1, reach back and pass that slip stitch over, and in row 12 with a knit 1. Well, that kind of woke me up a little bit. Slide that marker, and I continue to knit around, increasing as I go. I will see you on the opposite end of row 12. Don't move your row marker. We're still on row 12, and I'll see you on this end. Back in just a sec. Alright, so I'm on the opposite end of row 12. I'm coming up to my lace marker right there. I slide the marker. Alright, row 12 is on the screen. I'm going to read it, and we're going to work it as it is written. Row 12 says knit 1, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over, knit 2, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2. Hope I didn't botch that too much. So knit 1, this is the other end of row 12. Now we work it just like it's written. Slip 1, knit 1, reach back and pass the slip stitch over. Now knit 2, 1, 2, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 2 stitches together. Okay, and then in with a yarn over, and then knit the last 2 stitches. Oops. 1 and 2. And there you have the end of row 12. And of course, when we turn the work, got my little sticky just to remind me, but row 13 is the wrong side, and I will see you back at row 14, the last row, and then we'll talk a little bit. Alright, so you work 13 as I will work 13, and then I'll see you back at 14. Be careful of your yarn overs. Alright, I am ready for row 14, the last row of our lace pattern. And then we'll finish this row and we'll be ready. We'll stop and talk a minute. Alright, let me just, yep, that's where we are. Alright, row 14 reads, knit 4, yarn over, knit 3, yarn over, knit 2 stitches together, yarn over, knit 2. So, of course, on this side, the left side of my sweater, left front, I will start on the back of row 14. Knit 2, yarn over, working backwards, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 3, 1, 2, and 3, yarn over, and you will end with a knit 4. So you just knit those last 4 stitches. Just like that. Slide the marker and we're on our way to the next increase marker, which is right there, and we will continue increasing. I go up, knit up to the last stitch before the marker, yarn over, knit 1, slide the marker, yarn over, and oops, I need to pull up some yarn. Yarn over on this side of the marker. Now continue to knit across to the next increase marker. So there's a yarn over on this side and one on that side. And continue, and I will meet you on the other side for the second part of row 14, the lace. Alright, back in just a minute. Okay, I'm on the other side excuse me, of row 14. So let me just finish up these few stitches. And I see the lace stitch marker there. Alright, slide the marker and row 14 is still on the screen. Now we're just going to work it as it is written. It says knit 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yarn over, knit 3. 1, 2, and 3. Alright, then there's another yarn over, knit 2 stitches together, and end with a yarn over and knit the last 2 stitches. Just like that. Voila! You have just worked one full repeat of this pretty edge lace pattern called the wavy border. Well, they call it the wavy border. You'll see it'll have a different name if you see it somewhere else, and it could have a different stitch count. But like I said, I've used it for I've used it several times for quite a few things. And so now, here's how, if we were wearing the sweater, here's my left front, here's my right, here's the back with all my all the increases along every section. And now you can always check, because you should have a clear line of eyelets, and if one is blocked, that means you fell asleep. I'm going to turn it around this way now as it's facing me so we can just talk a minute. Let me see how it looks on camera, if it's back enough. Back out. Okay. Now, because we're just going to talk a minute. Okay, so now, I haven't mentioned it, but of course, to grow this sweater, we have to increase. And on your sheet, in the first sweater, we had an increase number. And I'm staying with that same increase, and I think, hopefully yours did too. Like I said, I showed you how to change, if you needed to change anything, by just changing the stitch count. Where's my pen? Oh, well, here's one. Alright, so I just want to remind myself, my increase number, I'm going to put it on I'm going to put INC, and I'm going to increase, I'm going to use 26. My increase number is 26. So that means, for my sweater, I will eventually have 26 of these eyelet rows, or these eyelets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've increased about, like I said, about 7 times. Alright, so what you're going to do now is to start again on row 1 of the lace. And, just write it out or whatever you need to do. But you'll start on row 1 again and continue to increase, work in the next row, next repeat of this wavy border pattern on each front edge. But I need you to stop at least 2 increases before before you reach your increase number. For me, like my increase number is 26, so I'm going to meet you back at increase number 24 because we need to do some things and check some things. And also, since on my schematic, I also changed a sleeve size. I went from 60 to 56. So as I near that 26, you know, as I get farther down, closer to 26, I'm going to stop every once in a while and count my sleeve. You don't have to count the other things, but you need to count your sleeves. Since I took 4 stitches out, now I've got to watch, because once I reach 56, okay, I will have to stop increasing in just the sleeve area, just on this side of the marker and on this side. And of course I have to do the same thing on this sleeve. So that's something. So if you've changed the number, then stop before that, way before, and then we will meet back and we will count things, we will see how it looks, and anything else that I can think of as I'm working this second one, you know, top down.